Someone is controlling you right now. Not a government, not a corporation, not some shadowy organization operating in the dark. Someone in your everyday life. Someone you trust, someone you might even love. And the most dangerous part is not that they are doing it. The most dangerous part is that you have no idea it is happening. You think you are making your own decisions. You think your emotions are your own. You think the way you feel about yourself, about your relationships, about your own worth and your own capabilities. You think all of that is coming from inside you. It is not. Some of it is being manufactured, deliberately, skillfully, by people who learned a long time ago that the easiest way to control a man is not to threaten him, not to force him, not to take anything from him by violence. The easiest way to control a man is to make him feel a specific way. Make him feel guilty and he will do anything to relieve the guilt. Make him feel insecure and he will chase your approval like oxygen. Make him feel special and chosen and he will give you his loyalty without ever questioning why. Make him feel like every problem in his life is his own fault and he will never think to look at the person who planted that belief. These are not modern psychological discoveries. These are ancient tools. Tools that have been documented, studied, and used by the most powerful and the most dangerous people in human history for thousands of years. Machiavelli wrote about them. Sun Tzu built military strategy around them. The Roman emperors used them to govern 60 million people, and the most sophisticated operators in your life right now are using them to you today. This video is going to do three things. First, it is going to show you exactly what these tactics are, named, specific, undeniable. Second, it is going to show you how to recognize them when they are being used on you, because awareness is the only defense that actually works. And third, it is going to show you how the Stoics, the men who understood human psychology more deeply than almost anyone in history, developed the specific mental frameworks that make these tactics fail, that make you immune, that make you the kind of man that cannot be emotionally controlled by anyone. By the end of this video, you are going to look back at specific relationships, specific conversations, specific moments in your life, and you are going to see them completely differently. That might be uncomfortable. Good. Comfortable men are controlled men. Welcome to Timeless Thinkers. Let us begin. Emotional trick number 1, manufactured guilt. Let us start with the most widely used emotional control tactic in human history, guilt. Not genuine guilt, the guilt you feel when you actually do something wrong, when you genuinely hurt someone, when your actions violate your own values and your conscience responds appropriately. Manufactured guilt. Guilt that is deliberately engineered by another person to make you feel responsible for something you did not actually cause, so that you will do what they want to make that feeling stop. Here's how it works. Someone in your life is unhappy, or they want something from you, or they want you to stop doing something that is good for you but inconvenient for them. Instead of asking directly, which would require honesty and vulnerability and the possibility of a no, they manufacture guilt. They go quiet when you make a decision they do not like, not because they are genuinely hurt, because silence is a tool. It creates uncertainty. It makes you wonder what you did wrong. It makes you start reviewing your behavior looking for the offense, and then you come to them asking what is wrong, which gives them the exact opening they needed to tell you everything you did wrong, which you then feel compelled to fix by giving them exactly what they wanted. They say things like, "I just thought you cared more about this than you apparently do," or "No, it's fine, do what you want, I'll manage somehow," or "I would never do that to you." These are not honest expressions of feeling. They are precision instruments. Each one is designed to activate your guilt response and redirect your behavior. Machiavelli observed this pattern in the courts of Florence for decades. He watched princes and advisors and courtiers use manufactured guilt to redirect the behavior of powerful men who would never have submitted to direct demands. He wrote in The Prince that men will resist force when it is obvious, but surrender to manipulation when it feels like their own choice. That last phrase is the key, when it feels like their own choice. The genius of manufactured guilt is that it makes you feel like you are acting freely, like you are choosing to change your behavior, to apologize, to sacrifice your own interests, to give the other person what they want, but you are not choosing freely. You are responding to a manufactured emotional state that was deliberately created to produce exactly this response. Here's how you recognize manufactured guilt versus genuine guilt. Genuine guilt is proportional. It corresponds to something you actually did. It's specific. It points to a clear action and a clear harm, and it resolves when you address the actual harm. Manufactured guilt is disproportionate. It's vague. It's hard to point to a specific action. It doesn't resolve when you try to address it, because the goal is not resolution. The goal is ongoing leverage. Every time you try to fix it, you discover a new dimension of how you have failed. The conversation always ends you feeling worse than when it began. The Stoic framework for manufactured guilt is one of the most powerful things in this entire video. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." And more precisely, he wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change. But if no one can show me this, what else would you have me do?" That question, what else would you have me do, is the Stoic test for manufactured guilt. When you feel guilty, ask yourself, did I actually do something wrong by a standard I genuinely hold? Not a standard someone else is holding over me, a standard that is mine, that I chose, that reflects my actual values. If yes, address it honestly, change what needs to change, move forward. If no, recognize the guilt as manufactured. Do not try to resolve it by giving the other person what they want, because manufactured guilt can never be resolved by compliance. It's a renewable resource for the person using it. Every time you comply, you teach them that guilt works on you, and they will use it again. The immune response to manufactured guilt is not aggression. It is not defensiveness. It is the quiet, unshakable clarity of a man who knows what he did and what he did not do, and who will not apologize for things he did not do, regardless of how uncomfortable the social pressure becomes. That stillness, that groundedness, is one of the things that distinguishes men who are controlled from men who are free. Emotional trick number 2, strategic insecurity. If manufactured guilt is about making you feel bad about your past behavior, strategic insecurity is about making you feel bad about who you fundamentally are. It's more powerful, more long-lasting, and far more damaging. Here's the mechanism. Someone in your life, a partner, a parent, a boss, a friend, consistently communicates in both direct and indirect ways that you are not quite enough, not quite smart enough, not quite successful enough, not quite attractive enough, not quite capable enough to accomplish the good things you want. Sometimes this is explicit, criticism delivered as concern. You should really think about whether you are capable of handling something that big. Are you sure you're ready for that? I just don't want to see you embarrassed. More often, it is implicit, the slightly longer pause before they respond to your idea, the way they look at you when you describe your ambitions, not with contempt, with something worse, with gentle doubt, the way they compare you to other people without ever quite saying you fall short, the accumulated weight of 1,000 small signals that add up to one message: you are not enough, and you need me to tell you when you are. Once this belief is installed, and it is installed slowly, gradually, through repetition, it creates a specific and devastating dynamic. You start to seek validation from the very person who manufactured the insecurity. You bring your ideas to them first. You need their approval before you act. You interpret their doubt as wisdom, and their occasional validation as the most precious thing available. You have become dependent on the judgment of the person who undermined your judgment. This is not an accident, it is the design. Epictetus, who understood more about psychological control than almost anyone in history because he had experienced its most extreme form as a slave, wrote about this with devastating precision. He said, "Seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourself." He was not offering comfort, he was identifying the mechanism. The man who seeks confirmation of his own worth from outside himself will always be at the mercy of whoever controls that confirmation. He has placed the most important thing, his belief in his own capability and his own value, in the hands of someone else, and that someone else, whether consciously or not, now has enormous power over him. Here's how you identify strategic insecurity in your own life. Ask yourself, are there specific people in whose presence you consistently feel less capable, less confident, less certain about your own judgment than you feel when you are alone or with others? Are there people whose opinion of your ideas matters so much to you that you find yourself adjusting, softening, shrinking your ambitions to fit their expectations? Are there relationships where the dynamic is always that they are the authority and you are the person seeking approval? If yes, you are experiencing strategic insecurity, whether the other person is doing it deliberately or not. The Stoic antidote is the